Right, good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. I'm currently sitting in the Mondeo because I'm now about to head over to my dad's because he is once again, only a couple of weeks later, got another broken spring on his Mondeo. This time it's the rear, it's the driver's rear I believe this time, whereas before it was the passenger front. This seems to happen a lot where you fix one spring on a Mondeo and another one seems to let go. Usually it's like on the same axle, so it'll be the other side, or the same side, so it'll be the rear side on the same side as the front one broke last time, if that makes sense. This time it's the completely opposite corner, so I'm now going to head to Euro Car Parts. I'm going to pick him up a spring. We're going to head over to his. Hopefully we'll have a lot more luck than we did last time doing this spring. I've got brand new spring compressors, some bigger ones, so we should be able to compress it enough, and hopefully everything else goes our way today. So if we're going to take you along on the journey, I know it's another spring, but you never know what might happen and what stuff you and me may learn today. So let's get going. Right, so I've just arrived at my dad's. He's already got the car in the garage like last time. It's already jacked up and the wheel is now off, as you can see. I'll quickly show you what has happened. Like I said, the spring is broken. As you guys know, I went to Euro just now to buy a new spring, but I'll just show you how it's broken. This is pretty much the same as what happened last time, but the bottom coil is snapped off. You can sort of see it sitting right there, and then the bottom of the spring has sort of slipped off and gone around there. So this is pretty much the same as doing the front, from what I can remember, because I did a rear on mine not too long ago, but the process is pretty much the same. You've got a drop link to take off, and then the bolt for the knuckle, and you hit that down, and then you just got the top mount bolts, and that's kind of it. The hardest bit, as you know from last time, is compressing the spring, or compressing the new spring to get it onto the strut. Now that I've got the longer spring compressors that I bought, hopefully it won't give us any issues today. So we're gonna crack on and get started on this, and if we come across any issues, I'll be sure to update you. Nice. Okay. That does not look happy at all, does it? No. Right, so a quick little update. If you saw in the footage, we were trying to remove the pinch bolt that holds the strut into the knuckle. And those of you that own Mondeos or have done this job before will know that they can either snap, be completely stuck in there, and for us it wasn't completely stuck in there. We managed to get it moving, however it was a real pain trying to get it out. We were backwards and forwards with it, lots of WD-40, and what's ended up happening is we've rounded the bolt off. We've got it sort of halfway out. You can see there, this is the bolt I'm talking about. We've got it a long way out. However, the bolt head, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, has just completely rounded off. I've tried to hammer like a smaller socket on, but oh, there we go. I tried to hammer a smaller socket on, but I can't get it to go on. So what we're now going to do, or what we're going to attempt to do, is to actually remove the strut and the knuckle as one assembly, take it to the workbench and try and work on it there. There's 3 bolts that hold it on here. There's like an arm there, there's an arm the other side, just there, and then there's a bolt somewhere around there. I'm going to take those 3 bolts out and then try and take this whole sort of assembly, the strut and everything, out as one. The caliper's going to have to come off as well. But we're thinking that might be an easier way of working on it, because where it is kind of difficult to get to. So we're going to try that. That's how they're supposed to come out, isn't it? Mm. Do you?
Caliper?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to work on the caliper first?
Which one? What are they?
You can, yeah, you can just take the caliper and leave the bracket on if you want, or you can take the whole thing off. It's up to you.
So which is?
These two will just take the caliper off, and all those ones in there will take the whole.
Alright. Well, we just want to take that, don't we?
Yeah.
Is that 15 again?
I'd say 13 if it was me, but you can check.
That was a bit premature.
Yeah, you might need a spanner on that as well, because this bit spins. It's all about learning, isn't it? You don't know until you try it. Right, so for a lesson for anyone that's doing this, we've just learnt this ourselves. If you're doing a spring, don't bother undoing the pinch bolt that holds the knuckle to the strut, because the 3 bolts that hold the 3 like arms, the rear arms that go to the knuckle, were so easy to undo. They came off with pretty much no hassle whatsoever. I'll just quickly show you them. The caliper's off as well, as you can see. Caliper sits there. This arm on the front is a 15, that came off. Piece of cake. And then there's another arm that goes, where is it? Here. If you can see that. Another arm that goes there, that was a 15, and then this one on the back here was an 18. So they're all now free, as you can see. They're all moving and away. The only thing left to do is, you found them?
Nope.
There's some bolts behind the carpet, I think, to take out. So, oh god, you have to take the carpet out on that side, I guess, to get to them. Or have you got to take this trim out?
Maybe.
There's a screw, a couple of Phillips, and Phillips and a flathead. Yeah. So I think the strut bolts are under here. So we're going to take this piece of trim out, this plastic bit just here, and then the carpet should just pull away. Right, so just ignore everything that I just said about taking the boot carpet out. I just remembered that on mine, well, after seeing it, I just remembered on mine that you actually get to the bolts from the inside the wheel well. There's 2 10mm up in the top. I'll just show you. We managed to get the carpet out, but we obviously didn't need to. That's where the bolts are, just there. And they come up from the bottom, like I said. So put all this back. We don't need to take any of that out. The bolts are access. You might need a long extension on it if you've got one.
I got that.
But they're up there somewhere. You need to get like right up past the spring.
Will we have any compression issues? Or is there a lip on the...
There's a
thing on the top?
On top, yeah. They came out pretty easy in mine because the threads are inside the car.
And they're clean, aren't they, inside the car?
I'll just get a shot of it. Something smells like it's burning, so just be careful. That might be the dirt on the light.
So the whole thing's just going to drop as I do it, is it?
Possibly. Well, it's still in that drop link, but that's not going to do a lot, I don't think. Alright, here we go. Here is the prize. This is the strut, still inside the hub. The bolt is still in there as well. And this is what the aftermath looks like. This is all the arms that I took out. That one, and that one. And then the track rod end, not track rod end, what's it called? Drop link. And the caliper. So we're going to take this to the bench now and try and see if we can get that bolt out. Hopefully it'll be a lot easier to work on now that it's out of the car as well. It's heavy, isn't it? Mm. Oh, there's all that stuff up there. It looks like there's a spider's nest up there. Well, I'll say it again, like I said before, highly recommend taking the whole leg out. If you're going to do this job yourself, make sure you take the whole leg out. Don't even bother with a pinch bolt. The front one was a pain last time, but we managed to get it out. But this time, this one was just an absolute nightmare. As you can see, I'll give you a closer look now. It's out of the car. You can see that it's sort of rounded itself off. It's not awful. I'm thinking I might be able to hammer a socket onto that. But there we go. I've also found another issue with this car whilst this is off. Look how those brake pads have worn. You see that? This is the rear one here. Look how much meat there is this end and how much meat there isn't that end. It's sort of worn unevenly. It's worn on the wonk. So that's another thing we're going to have to sort out, because that's not good at all. Well, here she is. There's the whole leg. The spring, you can see the broken spring as well now. There, that's where it's snapped. If you can see that. Right there. You can see where it's snapped. So we're going to obviously get the spring off, but before we do that we're going to try and get this bolt out. So the bolt is out. I didn't film how I did it, but I'll just quickly explain. It was a 15mm when it was on the car. It rounded off, and so what I did is I filed it down using a metal file. I filed down the edges so that a 14 would fit on it. So what's on there now, if you can see that on the camera, that is a 14mm socket, and you can sort of see the edges are all shiny on the bolt right there. So I filed it down so that a 14mm will go on. I hammered on a 14mm, and it was just enough to be able to get out, but I don't know if you can see the state of those threads.
Light, maybe.
Oh, there we go. The threads are pretty much non-existent on that, so we're going to run a tap through this, and then we've got to find another bolt somewhere. Have you got one or not? You have to source one. Okay, so we're back out from lunch now. We had a quick break. We're now about to take the spring off. We're going to assess the damage because there's a couple of bits on the strut that have seen a little bit of damage, so we're going to take the spring off, the old one. We are compressing it this time as well, by the way. Hang on, let me focus. We are compressing the spring this time as well because we learnt from last time that just taking the nut off, the spring will have a little bit of tension in it. So we've put these are the new spring compressors. They're the extra long ones, 380mm, whatever they are. And as you can see, the spring is now loose, so we're ready to take the top nut off, and this shouldn't go bang this time, hopefully.
That is undoing it. Oh. Tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, down. Good, always checking.
Hang on, let me put my camera down. This is...
I've got the orientation. That's good. One more of the other bit.
Yeah, you can. Oh my goodness, are we going the right way?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering now.
Is that the right way? There it is as well. It's going to be a long clip. What's the spring? Oh, the spring's done now. So we've got the spring off, as you can see. The bump stop is in a little bit better days, so we don't know whether to get a new one of them. And then the boot here has a slight hole in it there, so again we don't know whether to get a new one of them as well. Everything else looks alright. They don't know the struts alright and everything, but still functions as it should. So it's just a case of whether we want to reuse this stuff or not. So we need to get a new bolt anyway, so we don't know whether to get new ones of these as well while it's all off. Now this is the broken bit of the spring, by the way. Looks like, again, that looks like it's been broken for a while, doesn't it? It's all rusty. That's what it was like last time. So we've decided that we are going to go ahead and put all this back together using these parts. I know that it's got a little hole in it, and really you should change it, but we will do it at a later date. Same with the bump stop. You really should change that as well because it's in pretty bad condition, but again we will do it at some point, but we can't do it today because the car actually needs to be moved from where it is, because the garage door won't shut with it where it is, so we need to get everything back together to be able to move it. So we're going to do that using these old parts. It's not the end of the world. It's been like that for ages probably anyway. So does that look the same? Spring. There is the new spring. That looks like the bottom, doesn't it? Yeah. There. Is it? Right, so I didn't film much of the process, but the spring compressors worked a treat. These extra long ones were exactly what we needed, and we probably would have been able to do it last time had we had these. But you can see how much we've compressed that spring. The coils are tiny compared to what they were. That's how big they were. And that's now what they look like. We compressed it pretty much all the way down. We managed to get the nut on the top. That's all tight now. And everything is done. We're just going to take the spring compressors off now. And this thing will be ready to go back in. Right, there we have it. That is the whole leg, complete, all put back together. What we're going to quickly do, because we haven't got a bolt for this yet, we're going to put all this back together, but we're going to quickly tap this hole where the pinch bolt goes through, because we did it on the last one. It does get all gummed up and stuff, and that's why it's so hard to take out. So we're going to quickly tap that, and then once we put all this back in, we're going to have to source a bolt. But obviously the car won't be driven in the meantime, so it's fine. You can come in from this side, can't you?
Oh, right, in from this side.
I think you can, yeah. As long as it goes in easy, you'll be alright. The thing is, this bolt has Loctite on it, and it was gummed up as well with like rust and dirt and all that stuff, so it's definitely worth cleaning it out for when the new bolt goes in. And that right there is why we did that. You see all that gunk and horrible stuff? That would have been caught up in the new bolt's threads if not, so it's definitely worth doing that. Looks good, doesn't it? One of us is going to have to like hold it up there, aren't we?
Yeah, that's quite heavy, so I'll put on some wood or something.
Right, so we've got the whole leg up in there. Dad has just tightened those two bolts, those two 10 mils that are up there to hold it in. He's just tightened them down. We need to raise this up, so we're going to put a jack on the bottom of the hub. We need to raise it up because this bit here, this slanted bit, needs to sit on there, and also the drop link needs to go in, and as you can see, it's way too high to go into that hole. So we're going to get... Once my dad stops destroying his garage, we're going to jack this up so that we can fit this stuff in.
I'll push it. It could go peeling. But I'm getting ready to move because I need to. Yes, I do need to.
Right, so there we have it. That is the whole leg all back in. We've attached all of the relevant arms. So this arm here is back in with a bolt. The sway bar is back in and tight, and then those two round there, the two arms that are around that side, are both in and tight as well. The last thing we're doing is the caliper, and I just noticed something real quick. I showed you earlier that the rear pad has worn unevenly like that. You can see it's on the slant, and this one sits on the back there. Now I found out that the reason is, on the back of these pads, on the rear calipers, you have a little like raised dimple. Can you see that right there, where my thumb is? And what that does is that's supposed to sit in, hang on, in those little horseshoe type things there in the piston. That is supposed to sit on that, so when you put the caliper on, that should slot onto that nipple, if that makes sense. But instead, what has happened, whoever did the brakes last, which wasn't us, you can see exactly that little shiny dot where the nipple has been sitting, right there. So someone has not twisted the caliper. It needs to, basically the caliper piston needs to twist 90 degrees. There's a cat. Needs to twist 90 degrees so that it will slide over the nipple. I hope that makes sense. But that's the reason, I think, for the uneven wear. So we'll probably end up doing these pads at some point because that is going to wear unevenly for the rest of its life now. But we're going to rectify that by just twisting that piston so that it will sit on that nipple. So I used this this brake twisting tool. This is for rear calipers, and I've twisted it so it's now sitting where it should do, at about 90 degrees, pointing in towards the brake disc like that. So that should now slot over and sit properly. Right, so quick little update. We are now officially, all we can do is done. Everything's back together. The brake caliper is all back on. The only thing left to do is to get that bolt. We're gonna head to the garage that we went to last time when we got them to do the spring on the front last time. We're gonna head there and see if they've got a bolt. Most garages will stock bolts. You ain't got it handy, have you? I think I already showed them that anyway. But it's not only is the thread like all gummed up and chewed up, but because it rounded off and I had to file it down, we don't trust it to go back on basically, so we want to find a new one. There you go, this is kind of how it looks. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera. There you go. See how chewed up that is. You're not going to put that back on a car, and the threads look awful as well. So we're going to take this with us to the garage and see if they've got another one. If not, we'll have to try and find a shop maybe that's got one, I don't know. But that is literally the last piece of the puzzle, so once we've got that, it's job done. So we're taking the ST to the garage. My dad's driving as well. Being passenger in my own car again. Yeah, no, everyone says that. Right, so just like that, we are back from the garage. We went to Postmill Garage in Wyndham Business Park, I believe it is, and they were really nice, and they let us have a bolt. This is the one we've got. It's a Torx bolt instead, so the head thread is the same. It is actually a Ford bolt as well. This was out of a set of bolts for a Ford. He just didn't have this one. He had every other bolt for a Ford, believe it or not, just didn't have this one. But this is going to work just as well. It's the same thread, the same pitch, pretty much the same length, just a tiny, like a mil or two shorter, and it's just got a different head on it, but it will work all the same. So we're going to get this put on, and that will finish up today's job. I'm glad that we were actually managed to get it done. I was scared for a minute that we were going to have to come back to this another day, but with this bolt we're able to actually finish up today. So we're going to stick this in, probably going to put some copper grease on it as well so that it doesn't seize in there again, and then that'll be job done. It looks like it's meant to be there. There she is, goes all the way through. As you can see, it's actually, well, you can't see it, she's too dark. It actually sits flush on the other side, so that is going to work a treat. We put it in dry as well. We were thinking about using copper grease, and then we were also thinking about using Loctite, but we decided against both for our own reasons. But that is, with that bolt in, that is everything literally done, so the wheel can go back on now, and that is job done, finished, voila. Out the way, yeah. Yeah. Alright, she's all done. She's now just going to back her out, park her back out here. Well happy with that. There you go. Right, there she is. There's a few dirty marks around there where we had our hands. Someone has had their fingerprints there. Yeah. Brand new spring. You can't see it, it's too dark. There you go. Brand new spring, everything in. Good times. Right, so I'm going to end this video here. We're going to move on and do some trike, but I'm going to film that in another video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's very samey to the last spring video we did on the mondeo, but I figured I'd film it. We come across different issues in this video than we did in the last one, so it's always good to see how we get over lots of different things. So hope you guys learned something. I know me and my dad definitely did. I'll just give you a quick look at the spring one last time, and then we'll end the video up. This is how it looks. It's so common on mondeos apparently for this to happen, so I wouldn't be surprised if after this one of the other springs breaks. I don't want to talk it up, but when you fix one, another one seems to go, so we'll keep an eye on the car obviously, but for now that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next one.